the beginning of the semester, I made a decision that I wanted to use English and the skills of language arts as a way to help students also engage with who they are as a learner. I feel like that we have more opportunities right now in the study of the English language than we have before. And what does that study look like for a lifelong learner? The way I assess them has to be as innovative as the world that they live in and the world that they will live in. And part of that is visual literacy. They speak in images. So the goal was for them to create a metaphor for themselves as a learner. This large, overarching, extended metaphor would be represented visually. You can see around me some of the visual models that they created. We had everything from plant cells to the human body, to construction sites, to mountains, to flowers. And the idea was that whatever this was, whatever object they chose, that it represented a concrete visual image of this abstract being that they are as a learner. And they did it really well. They jumped into it. We made a list of parts, and they were asked to write. In this second section, they were asked to write paragraphs in argument form for why each one of these standards or learning processes was a support for their overarching metaphor, and why it also worked as its own metaphor. Once they had that written, once they had these visuals constructed, they then had to go the next step. They had to do a public presentation of this.
Moving forward, me personally, I have a bad habit of being, a little bit lazy. That's kind of something I do. So I get feedback, but it's the feedback that everyone gets, and I want to put the seek into seek feedback.
I thought myself as learning, I'm only developing in this skill because I think that I use it a lot in class, but when it comes to out of class, I don't use it so much for myself.
They started seeing themselves differently. They started seeing themselves not as a person in an English class or a person in a math class or this person that has a lot of homework. They started seeing themselves as this learner who had different sides to them. And there wasn't a student I didn't work with that I didn't feel like had a moment they were proud of when they did this.
It makes me want to do better. It makes me want to be a better student because I put my own work in it. I put my heart into my work.
And what I said to them at the end of it was, it's hard enough to be honest with yourself. It's harder to be honest with a parent or an adult or a teacher. But to have worked so hard over the course of a semester that you have created a classroom community where you feel safe and comfortable enough to be honest about both your successes and your failures, and to look out and tell this group of people who are now your friends, your peers, your colleagues, your community, what you're trying to get better at, and to be so open and honest about that. I shouldn't have been surprised because I know them, but I was, and they moved me as a teacher. These are the days you hope for.